Hey, what's up, everybody? Happy Wednesday. Welcome to the Fantasy Minute. This is the Wednesday Workload. I am John, your host, and we're going to go through this week in football. So, we had a lot of injuries happen this week. I'm going to run through them real quick. That way we know where we're standing there. One of the big ones, CD Lamb. He got hurt pretty early in the Bears game, and he ended up having a high ankle sprain. Actually avoided a major injury, but he could miss 3 to 4 weeks with this injury. So that hurts a lot of CD Lamb owners out there. I understand if you want to hit the panic button a little bit, but if you're going to try to deal CD, you're going to take a hit in his price point. Unless somebody's really just banking on him coming back super strong after a month. Like if you have needs elsewhere, then you might be able to work a deal, get a running back, get another receiver. Both will be of less value, obviously, but maybe if you need to fill maybe both your running backs are trash. Like you might be able to sell him to benefit that and give the other manager the ideals that when he does come back, he's got the back half of the season locked with another wide receiver one on their roster. So you could do that, but that's a timetable for CD Lamb. Mike Evans for the Bucks, his hamstring. That one happened towards the end of the game. So although that sucks, he's expected to miss at least a few weeks on that. But there are other options there in Tampa. You have Chris Godwin that could be coming back this week. That's a big could, but they did avoid putting him on IR for a reason, and they did pay him big in the offseason for a reason. So hopefully it was just being very cautious on his return. But if he comes back and he's full swing, then you have an option out there. So if you held on to him, that might be a play there. Otherwise, you got Sterling Shepard, Tez Johnson. You're not playing him for fantasy, though. Another one, running back James Conner for the Cardinals. He was carted off, and he will be out for the rest of the year, which bumps up Trey Benson. He was the number one target I put on the waiver wire episode for Tuesday. Trey Benson is a lock there in Arizona. You definitely want to have a piece of him if he's there's no way he's still available after waivers processed. But if you could trade for him and somebody's not as high on what he can be, he should be a solid RB2 rest of season. Definitely a replacement there in Arizona. Najee Harris, Achilles, he's out for the rest of the season. We finally got the Omarion Hampton that we've been waiting for. And that means no timeshare with Najee. Didn't want an injury to happen for it, but that's the way it went. So Omarion Hampton, sorry, I can't speak today, is going to start seeing the shares that we all drafted him expecting. So Terry McLaurin for the Commanders, he suffered a quad injury, so he's questionable at the moment. Not sure how much time he's going to miss, if he misses any, but he is questionable. Alec Pierce for the Colts, left with a concussion. I don't know a lot of people that might have him rostered, but just be aware of that if you were wanting to play him. Otherwise, he's just notable. Mac Jones for the Niners. So he looks like he re-aggravated his PCL or his knee. So he had a knee brace on later on in the game. I know Brock's been trending to come back, but with the Niners having Week 5 bye, it just makes sense that if you can get Mac Jones to just stick it out one more game and let Brock and Kittle come back and be full strength in Week 6, that'd be awesome. But that's where we are. So Justin Fields still under concussion protocol. Not sure if he's going to be good to go yet. JJ McCarthy with his ankle. They might like what they've seen out of Carson Wentz this last week, and they may stick with him. That is to be determined. Jaden Daniels, knee. They may play Marcus Mariota again, so keep an eye on that. Obviously, we know about Joe Burrow out for the next 3 months. Notables, obviously, we have Aaron Jones, hamstring. He's out and on IR, so he has at least another 3 weeks, with Jordan Mason being the lead in that backfield till he comes back, and we'll see how much workload he endures when he does get back. Let's see. I was going to say something. Tyrone Tracy, shoulder. Seems that he banged that up pretty good. He should be out the next 2-3 weeks. Cam Skadaboo is your lead back in New York now. And also announced earlier on Tuesday that Jackson Dart will be the starting quarterback for the New York Football Giants. So get ready for that, and get ready to see some Malik Neighbors stock going up, as he will hopefully not throw him hospital balls like Russell Wilson was on Sunday Night Football. Zach Charbonnet remains to be determined with his foot for the Seahawks. Dimey Brown for the Jags, shoulder injury. Xavier Worthy for the Chiefs, shoulder injury. Still wait. He dislocated that, and so they're hoping to get him back this week. Not 100% sure. Keep an eye on that. Isaiah Likely for the Ravens, still recovering from his foot. Michael Mayer, concussion for the Raiders, tight end. Concussion protocol. Noah Fant for the Bengals, concussion protocol. Colson Loveland for the Bears, hip. So we'll keep an eye on that, but he really hasn't been doing much of anything in the fantasy realm so far this season. And new to me, Jatavian Sanders, tight end for the Panthers, is dealing with an ankle injury. So going to keep an eye on that if you're wanting to stream that far for a tight end. So that being for the injuries, let's go over some stats real quick. While I'm getting those, hopefully everybody had successful waiver wire pickups. Do understand that when you there are different types of waiver wires. I'll explain this while I'm getting my data sheets. When you have different types of waivers, so a lot of different platforms work differently. You can set it up the way you want it. For example, Yahoo Fantasy does not deal with Fab. Fab is free agency free agency budget. So basically what that means is that's utilized a lot in Sleeper, and I'm sure other leagues. Those are the two main platforms that I use, are Yahoo and Sleeper. I've toyed around with the other ones, didn't like the fluidity of them too much, but they were serviceable. So when you're dealing with Fab, essentially and typically you're given $100 at the beginning of the season. Each team or each team owner, each team manager, um, you you get $100 play money. You use this through the year to bid on waiver options. So when you're going to the waiver wire, you want to pick somebody up, you select the player you want, select who you need to drop if there's not room on your roster/bench, and then you can enter in an optional dollar amount of fab. Uh, Highest bidder wins. Sometimes nobody bids money and they get the waiver pickup. But when you have a very hot commodity come across, you're going to have higher demand for that player. You want to use your fab. So there are some sites that will give you recommendations on how much of your fab to spend on said players. It's just a matter of what you think the other team owners are going to bid as well to try to beat them and what you're willing to spend. So fab is one way to do waivers. Another way to do the waiver wire is like in Yahoo, you have waiver priority. So when you drafted your team at the beginning of the year, whether you picked first or you picked last, depends on where you start in your waiver priorities. So, say for instance, I picked 12th overall in a 12-team league. So, I picked last. I get the very first waiver priority. Now, if I don't use that in week 1, I still keep the first priority. I will keep that until I use it. Once I do, then I go to the back of the line and I will be last. But then if somebody else in that same, say you have three team managers that use their waiver priorities on a Tuesday. So if I use mine and I'm number 1, obviously whoever I picked first, one player, it's limited to that. Once you pick a player, then you go to the back of the line again. So say I pick my player. Okay, I'm back of the line. I'm back to 12. But then 2 other people picked a player using their waivers, and now they went to the back of the line. Now I'm third from last, if that makes sense. So in a 12-team league, if I used my waiver, I had first priority. I go to the end of the line. 2 other people got someone after me. That puts me at 10. So I am now at the 10th priority spot. That means 9 other people in front of me. And if they don't pick somebody that I want when I put in a waiver next week or the week after, then if I'm the next one, if nobody picks none of those 1 through 9 people pick the player I'm going for, then I still have a shot to get whomever. But if I don't use my waiver, I can climb the ranks again, keep going back up to try to get to that number 1 spot. You only want to use your waivers if you have a need or really want a player. Like, otherwise, it's just a good strategy because you may need that higher waiver priority later in the season, and that may come in clutch. Fortunately, in a couple of leagues, I'm the number 1 waiver priority going into week 4. So if I had a need or a big want, or I want to just edge out my competition, I can use my waiver, go to the back of the line, but then I'll have a key player that I think and believe will be a difference maker. So you just have to be strategic when it comes to waivers. That's basically what that boils down to. All right, so sorry that explanation went a little longer than I expected to, but that's essentially how waiver wires work with priority and with fab. All right, so let's go to some of the games that happened this week. We saw a big boost in Dalton Kincaid's usage. And while that is a great thing, especially for Kincaid owners, if Kincaid was somebody that you picked up in addition to another tight end that you weren't just thrilled with, like maybe Hunter Henry, but then Hunter Henry went off, I would keep Hunter Henry and I would try to sell Kincaid, especially to a team manager that needs tight end. And you could sell high on Kincaid right now because his usage may not be as dependable or reliable as Hunter Henry's. Hunter Henry is pretty much, he had a down week in week 2. That's just how it is. But Dalton Kincaid, Josh Allen's going to throw the ball around to everyone. And James Cook's going to be heavily involved. And so is Josh Allen. He's going to run the ball, but he's going to spread the ball around too. So Kincaid, sell him high while you can. I think that's going to be a very important way to address that. James Cook is a beast. We saw that insane usage and efficiency. You're very happy if you drafted James Cook. If you can trade for him, you're going to pay, but trade for him if you can. Josh Palmer, one of the main receivers there in Buffalo, his usage has kind of steadily been declining, hence what I was talking about with the excessive or the usage being spread around that Buffalo offense. So just be aware of that. Devon Achane continues to see the volume, but his average target share has been dropping fairly significantly. So they may be backing off and seeing that maybe his usage needs to be maybe kind of capped, so to speak. I mean, he's definitely getting the points, but just be aware that they may try to turn that into a committee backfield. That's a possibility. I don't know. I'm not on the staff, but just be aware that that is always a possibility, especially when they're starting to see patterns of decline in usage. So that's how that goes. Tyreek Hill finally saw a pretty good week. Jalen Waddle has been pretty decent. Just with the Dolphins right now, until you can see a pattern build, just proceed with caution. That's my big advice there. So moving over to the Browns, I know everybody grabbed Harold Fannin in a big move with his arrival as a unique and productive tight end, but he saw a decrease in participation, and he played 8 fewer snaps than David Njoku this last week for the Browns. So I think they might be leveling out the usage and keeping it relatively split with the 2 tight ends there in Cleveland, just to kind of see what they got. So don't panic, but I wouldn't overreact to that. Now, going to the backfield there in Cleveland, Quinshon Judkins led the Browns backfield with a 55% snap share, and Dylan Sampson, who ran just 3 routes, saw only 5 total snaps. As long as this guy doesn't get a suspension, to be determined later by the NFL, get this guy. He is, and I'm saying this with, I started the season with a lot of reservations on getting anybody on the Browns, just because you didn't have a lot of answers, especially going into the season after the draft and you drafting your fantasy team. But yeah, if you're going to go all in on getting a rookie running back, I mean, they're already trusting this guy. The only risk is if he does get a suspension from the NFL. That is the big worry. So for Green Bay, Josh Jacobs is still Josh Jacobs. He's been performing as expected. Nothing too crazy. No big spikes. Just a consistent. If you're gonna if you have Josh Jacobs, keep Josh Jacobs. But if you are trying to acquire Josh Jacobs, you may want to entice the owner to get him, because the Packers' schedule for the back half of the year is gravy. You're going to want a piece of that running back room, which is Josh Jacobs. That's the only one you're going after. Don't bother with a handcuff with Josh Jacobs. And I'm not saying injury isn't going to be a thing, knock on wood, but you can't bank on that with Jacobs. Just believe in him, and then you're also going to want to have a piece of Matthew Golden, maybe Romeo Dobbs going into the back half of the year. Their schedule is excellent too. And the whole Tucker Kraft disappointing week after him coming on a questionable injury with his knee in practice. Just monitor that. Nothing to panic there. Everybody has a down week, and that's what I'm chalking up Tucker Kraft's week to be. So for the Indianapolis Colts, Michael Pittman is owning it. He's been consistent. Daniel Jones loves throwing to him. And that offense and defense is on fire, but especially that offense. Josh Downs has been usable, but he is definitely not the star of that team. Tyler Warren is being used all over the place, and you got to roll with the playmakers there. And I think you're going to do that if you stick with Pittman, Tyler Warren, and obviously Jonathan Taylor. Jonathan Taylor is Jonathan Taylor. And God forbid any kind of injury happen to him. DJ Giddens, next man up, is not going to produce like Jonathan Taylor. For the Tennessee Titans, Tony Pollard, he's being consistent, but not explosive, not over the top, maybe even a little underwhelming. But the main players in that offense are going to be Alec Manor and Calvin Ridley, not so much. Chigakonkwo, I'm higher on Chig than I am Calvin. So there's that. They did announce that they are going to let the quarterbacks coach call the plays instead of the head coach, Brian Callahan. So what does that mean? A better Cam Ward? Maybe. We don't know. To be determined. So I guess we're going to get to see that in the next week. Now to the Bengals. If you have Jamar Chase, I'm sorry. He's going to see inconsistent production with Jake Browning at quarterback. T. Higgins is droppable at this point. If you can't just trade him for maybe someone that got Alec Manor, something like that. If you can get somebody that's just not tuned in, and maybe you can offload him without having to drop him. Chase Brown has been semi-serviceable. I'd much rather play a bunch of other running backs than Chase. Trevion Henderson, obviously Trey Benson moving forward, Cam Skattebo, just a lot of other running backs seem to have an offense that is able to do more and be efficient. So, meanwhile, in Minnesota, Jordan Mason is proven to be what we all hoped him to be, given the chance that he gets to start and be the bell cow there. I know Aaron Jones is on IR and could come back. or should come back, but at what capacity? I think Jordan Mason, as long as he keeps doing the thing, they're going to trust him through the end of the year. So definitely hold Jordan Mason. I don't know what you would sell him for, but if you were going to sell him very high. I'm high on Jordan Mason, and I'll be buying where I don't have him already. TJ Hawkinson finally had a week where he got some targets. Maybe that's because of Carson Wentz. No, it's definitely because of Carson Wentz. As long as he is the QB there in Minnesota, this should become a little bit more of a getting into the groove, swing of things. Jordan Addison's coming back from suspension, so his first game back will be this week. Just keep an eye on him. Obviously, you've been holding him on your bench as a suspended player this whole time. You're gonna see what happens, and if you're gonna sell him at this point, hopefully you can get a high price for him. But if he's been tying up a bench spot for this long, it's hard to believe that you're going to try to sell him and do anything with Jordan Addison unless the price is very, very right. So, moving over to New England. So, ball security continues to be an issue with Ramondre and Antonio in the backfield. Travion Henderson still has not fumbled the ball. Again, knock on wood that he does not ever. Travion is my guy, and I do fully expect him to take over that backfield by the end of the year. It's just a matter of when, and if it's Ramondre's job to lose as the lead back. So if that's the case, Travion will be there waiting and ready to go. So just be patient with him. If you have Ramondre and he's the starter, obviously you have options ahead of him. You could start him until you could start seeing the downfall of that. Mentioned earlier, Hunter Henry is a beast. He is the tight end for New England, and I want him in a lot of spots, especially if it's not one of the star tight ends, one of the big three that we drafted at the beginning of the year. You were able to get Hunter Henry late in the late rounds if he even if he didn't get drafted at all. You're able to get him. So hold Hunter Henry, very reliable. Last week 2 was a little bit of a dip in his production. It was just game script. No panic there. I'm confident in moving with him forward. Stephon Diggs, he's just kind of mid. He's not doing a lot. His route participation is kind of declined a little bit. He started the year off strong at about 70%. Then he dropped down to 58% in week 2, and then this last week about 55. So it's just he's a receiver to monitor, but also if you're monitoring him, monitor Kayshon Boutte. That might be a power shift right there. So if any of you know me, I had about 2 years where Jaylen Warren burned me in Pittsburgh. So this year, I had completely sworn off of him. Nope, I'm not falling for it again. And of course, like it usually does, Jaylen Warren proved that I'm an idiot, and he has been producing. He has become the bell cow back there for the Steelers. And Caleb Johnson, that guy has just not been able to do anything. He's been just not getting into the swing of things for Mike Tomlin, and he's in the doghouse. So the backup there is, or the second back is Kenny Gainwell, Jalen Warren. If you want a bell cow back, there you go. You got him. Speaking of bell cow backs, you have Kyron Williams for the Rams, but Blake Corum is slowly creeping into the scene, especially if you're in a league, and I've mentioned it in past episodes before, if you're in a league where special teams like return yards count, you're on the right track. You really want to be able to benefit from that kind of usage, especially for like Blake Corum, who plays on special teams. You can get those return yards, which sometimes turn into return touchdowns, and you get the points for those too. So definitely a discussion to have with your commissioner on having that included for years to come. But obviously, if the season started already, it takes a unanimous decision usually to change any kind of rule mid-season. But each league is different, and it's dependent on how you run your league. So Puka Nacua continues to be a monster, and Devontae Adams is not letting his presence go unnoticed. He is also getting heavily targeted. That is a great wide receiver duo. LA's got it going on, so keep an eye on that. All right. So we've got a lot of controversy with the tush push. The Eagles have been kind of, it seems to be jumping off the ball a little early, especially when it's been stated that the officials are going to monitor the use of the tush push and those kinds of things a little closer, but it seemed to keep happening against the Rams this last week. But for the Eagles, at least we got to see some Devonta Smith and A.J. Brown pass catching going on. And that has been long awaited by everybody in fantasy that has them. You have Dallas Goedert that is also running routes on 95% of Philly's dropbacks. And if he continues to do that and remain healthy, he is back in the top tight end conversation to have. So, all right, let's get off some of the game recaps here. We'll come back to that maybe here in a bit. But let's see here. I've got a couple of things I'm going to go over real quick. Had a buddy of mine send in a situation where he has CD Lamb like myself. He's looking to move on from him if he can to bolster up his running back room. He currently has DeAndre Swift and Kenneth Walker, and he is talking to a league mate that he's debating on sending a trade out for Cortland Sutton and Emeka Egbuka. I like that for the most part, but if he's wanting to also strengthen his running back by doing this with a top wide receiver, even though he's hurt, if he can find a running back piece to go with that, I think you might be able to get that done. You'd have to remove Sutton. I would want Egbuka over Sutton, even though Sutton is pretty much the consistency god, aside from the other week where he just disappeared and Troy Franklin showed up. But you got that. Another thing he was looking for, or he was going to try, was Zay Flowers, Quishon Judkins, and or Marion Hampton. Well, I think that you're going to have to throw another piece in there with CD just to kind of even out a little bit if you're going for all three. But what an amazing way to bolster your running back room and maybe even have a flex option there. So, but yeah, so just keep in mind that we've got different ways we can get out of sticky situations when it comes to fantasy, and it's really up to you on looking at things and starting to think, all right, well, what if I did this? What if they need this? And always put yourself in that situation when you're doing trades that if the roles were reversed, and you got to be really honest with yourself, if the roles were reversed, would you accept that trade from you? And if you can honestly say yes, or find a way to make it closer, that's how you win trades. It's not about you loading up and dumping off your trash to somebody else. People that do that do not know how to do trades. A trade should be fair and it should help both teams. Otherwise, it's not a good trade. Now, your league may want to veto something like that if your league has vetoes. Me personally, I don't believe in vetoes unless it's just it's the commissioner that's in charge of the vetoes, and you need to have a good commissioner that's on top of their stuff, and will call a spade and say, nope, that's not fair. You're taking advantage of that person. This is an uneven trade, or this is collusion. You guys are obviously in cahoots doing some kind of lopsided trade like this, and you don't want that. Player dumping towards the end of the year, towards playoffs, straight up collusion, and we'll go over stuff like that this year as well, so you can get a good basic understanding on how leagues should be and how it should be during the year when it gets to certain points of the season. So, and then in the off season, I'll make some videos that are highly concentrated on that, on running a league, on setting up your scoring, your rules, any kind of baseline stuff, so that way your league doesn't have issues or have a situation that pops up where you are, okay, I don't know what to do here. Don't know, because it's we haven't dealt with this before. Always try to plan ahead so that we don't have to deal with a headache in mid-season. And also, if you can put a rule in place so you're not trying to put a rule in place mid-season, that's going to be a huge thing. You want to make sure everything's good to go from the rip. So, all right. As always, send in screenshots of trade offers or situations that you're contemplating. Definitely want to help you out with things like that, just like my buddy did. Next time I'll put it up on the screen. I'll do get some nice visuals going on, so that way it just makes the show better. All right, so the main thing is to be strategic and have fun with fantasy football. It's supposed to be an outlet. Sometimes it takes over our lives a little bit more than what it should, and we don't need to be that way. But that's kind of how it is sometimes. But if you do it right, and you can build and keep friendships, or you may end a few. It just depends on the people that you deal with, and that could be an unfortunate thing. So, but the camaraderie of doing fantasy football and getting in a strategic mindset is it's pretty cool. It's pretty fun. And obviously, if you're watching this, then you think the same, because why else would you sit through 40 minutes of me talking, right? So, and typically the Wednesday workloads, they might be longer episodes because it is covering a lot of information. I will spare you going back and talking about other games, but comment and let me know if there was something that I missed that you would want to talk about more. That way, I'm giving you the content that you're looking for, and we can have a discussion as well. So make sure you tell me about your fantasy football team. Drop screenshots in the comments. You can even private message if you want to discuss something and it not be out there for everybody to see. Maybe you think a league mate also watches the show and you don't want to, show your hand. So totally understandable there. Just want to make sure we're all on the same page with that. Yeah. So if you guys have any questions for me, any additional like thoughts, or shoot, even if you want to just like say, hey, good show, I'll take it. Like the show, subscribe, share it with others. It'd be really nice to be able to have that. Let's see. Will this work? Nah. Okay. Sorry, I was trying to button out. It didn't work. So, but if you spread the word, I definitely appreciate it. You can follow the QR code on the screen. It'll take you to the link tree. It's easy. It's a link tree / the fantasy minute. But if you go there, it'll show you all the platforms that I air the show, and that way you can watch it on the one that you like the most. I post to my personal Facebook, Instagram. I stream full episodes to YouTube, Rumble. What's another one? I've been doing full episodes on TikTok. Full episodes on Spotify, but I've been doing full episodes on TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, X. The live streams go to Twitch and to Kick as well. But I think we're gonna switch it over. So full episodes go to YouTube, Spotify, Rumble, and we're gonna give you little snippets on TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, X, and then when we do the live stuff, we'll see what we can do live with Facebook, Instagram, TikTok Live, Twitch, and Kick. I think that's it. And I think I still have Discord. So I'll look into that and I'll get back to everybody on Discord. But it should be Jevons all day on Discord. So follow me there too. And it might be on the QR link, code, honestly. But all right. That's enough of that. I appreciate you all for listening. And we will see you next time on the Fantasy Minute with Thursday Night Thunder. Take care and good luck.